Story 1. Not having the extreme highs and lows of my married friends, life feels somewhat bland yet peaceful. It's okay, I guess. Story 2. It's peaceful. As I have heard from professionals, it's better to be single and want to be married than married and wanting to be single. Freedom allows me to have the best of both worlds. My peace and independence, as well as intimacy with the lovely women I choose to connect with, who are also independent and peaceful. Dating seems miserable for all involved right now, and a happy, long-term, successful marriage is rare. There is no reason to settle and lock down. Story 3. My life has been pretty good. I have been dating someone for a little while. I have hobbies that I participate in and friends I see regularly. Marriage will come when the time is right. Story 4. Love it. I buy what I want when I want. I go out when I want and go drink with my friends. I have some money to spend. No fights. Story 5. Freedom soothes the savage soul. I never take orders and only do things when I feel like doing them. Married men say, I don't take orders. Story 6. It is fantastic. Having a partner while not being legally or financially tied to them is the best of both worlds. Story 7. Pretty good. I have a large extended family, so loneliness has never really been an issue. I had a daughter at 23 with a woman I met a couple of times. The mother died in childbirth, so raising my daughter took almost all my time until I was nearly 40. I have dated some, but all these years on my own have made me pretty set in my ways, so I have not met anyone I want to live with yet. I only work a few hours a week as a consultant now and watch my grandson twice a week. I am pretty happy where I am. Story 8. It is difficult when I am consistently reminded of my friends who are happily married with families. However, since that is somewhat rare, I am doing all right. Could be a lot better, but I am generally very happy and use my freedom to the fullest. Story 9. At times, I realize I have it good and can live life as I see fit. At other times, I feel lost, lacking a sense of purpose beyond myself. To explore further, I have a strong vision for myself as a family man. That version of me is a completely different person from who I am currently as a single man. Simply put, it is like living two totally different, and in some ways opposite, lives. Recognizing that it is just a choice to live aspects of both is what is helpful at the moment. Story 10. Quite pleasant after I gave up trying to date seriously. Too many unreliable people. Too many girls looking for free meals. Too many girls disappearing without a word after what felt like great dates. At least you know what you are getting with girls who are just looking for casual relationships. Story 11. I was not married but had a child with my ex-partner, who is a Latina woman. I am Indian, so imagine how my culture sees me as the black sheep. However, I love my 6-year-old son, and outside of fatherhood, life is pretty difficult. Story 12. 50-50. I enjoy being single and not having to cater to someone. However, I also feel a bit saddened sometimes that I do not have anyone who romantically loves me. Then again, I am only 30, and in this day and age, it is still considered young. But who knows? Story 13. It has been interesting. My life is fine. It is quiet and easygoing. No complaints. The interesting part has been observing my friends' marriages and watching things evolve over time. A few of them have changed for the better. Men settling down and focusing on family rather than being the loud, irresponsible people I once knew. That has been good to see. Others have been fairly mundane. They get married, buy a house, have a child, and that is it. These are also the friends who drop off the face of the earth or stop inviting their single friend to events because the focus shifts to their children. That is fine for me. Their children are young and annoying. Then there are the people who have done a complete turnaround and become someone else. After having a child, issues we could not care less about start taking a front row in their lives and conversations. Things like religion, censorship, and politics. These people have all turned to the conservative side and can be hard to talk to, as they are primarily worried about their family's best interests and the current political landscape. It led me to the conclusion that regardless of how any of them turned out, they become fairly selfish. The type of selfishness that makes them dangerous in certain situations, people who would betray you to protect themselves or their family. To some degree, I understand it, but at the same time, I need to be aware of it. They would, and in some cases have, left me high and dry to serve their own family interests. It means I cannot really depend on anyone for help. While it is disappointing, it sets me apart from them in a very unique way. Story 14, quite good. Same partner for 18 years and mother of my child. Just did not bother with the ceremony nonsense. Story 15. Good. I'm 38, still dating, and I do whatever I want whenever I want without having to consider someone else. When I was younger, I had a few associates who had been married, had a child, and divorced before they were 22, and I think that scared me into being very selective. Story 16. Absolutely incredible. A 40-year-old male, nearly proposed to my girlfriend, but we decided to break up instead. I had a delusional view of marriage. I wanted a partner, but I have realized that this is rare. The concepts of for better, for worse, and for richer, for poorer are idealistic. I will stay unmarried and sane, thank you. Story 17. I am 27 years old. I love this life. I work, earn money, enjoy my hobbies, and spend time with friends. I have no big responsibilities. Story 18. Truthfully, amazing. I have built a great life for myself. I live very comfortably within my means. I have great friends, fun hobbies, I travel often, and I can enjoy as many spontaneous adventures as I want. Story 19. I was married and got divorced years ago. I really loved being married, but I did not love my wife. As I have gotten older, I like being single less. It is good to come home to someone, to have an activity partner, and to have someone to talk to and connect with. I am dating someone in a serious relationship, so I am fine. I have some friends who are committed to the single life, and they seem miserable and lonely. They either pursue every opportunity or are so withdrawn from the idea of a relationship that they are socially inept and almost hermits. Story 20. Really good. Finally have a good paying job and the worry of pinching everything all the time has subsided. I don't date anyone but have luck with women. Mid-30s are nice at the moment. I've had my ups and downs, and that's how I know these are the good times. Shout out to all those struggling mentally, physically, and spiritually. Life is hard. Story 21. I'm cheating by answering this one. I was married. Being single again is completely different than it was before marriage. I am much more comfortable being a single man. I do not really chase sex. I have a new perspective on life, what I want from it, and future potential partners. I love my ex with all my heart. We just were not meant to be together as a couple anymore. I wish her nothing but the best in life. For me, I am doing everything I want in life with a newfound peace. I know my life goals. I am making healthy progress toward them, and I have started and rekindled hobbies to fill my time. My next move is to get a dog and train it incredibly well so we can be best friends. I have always loved dogs, but it was not something we could do together in marriage. Story 22. Better now, but only because I have been making an effort to improve things for myself. Being able to do activities alone is a huge strength once you overcome it. Story 23. It is good overall. I sometimes wish there was someone in my life, but I love the freedom I have on my own. If I found the right person, my thoughts might change, but I am happy if I do not. Story 24. Very peaceful. I'm only a couple of months out from a breakup, but after my last relationship, my standards for what I want in a partner are so high that I'm not hopeful I'll meet someone to check those boxes off. But that's okay. I'm enjoying my video games and anime time at the moment. Story 25. It is okay, could be better. However, it could also be much worse if I had to go through a messy divorce or deal with custody and visitation rights. Story 26. Grass is always greener. You have individualistic consumerism to thank for that, attributed almost exclusively to Edward Bernays. Story 27. Life is amazing. It is great to be free and autonomous. Maybe it is just me, but when I see married men, they seem shackled. Story 28. Not too bad. Then again, you would get all kinds of answers from Dutch men and probably other Western Europeans too, since marriage is not as common as it used to be. Being unmarried can vary from a single person who lives alone to someone with a partner, children, and so on. In my case, I am single and living alone, and that is good. Although I am not opposed to having a relationship, cohabitation is not something for me. Story 29. Amazing. I am not saying being married is bad, but just like being single, it has pros and cons. When it comes to pros, I am happy I have no one to be responsible for or to. I can wake up and focus on myself and only myself. I enjoy that. Story 30. Life is going great. That was not the story for me until I got sober 6 years ago. Now I have been dating awesome women, one at a time currently, but have tried polyamory. I have gotten back into my hobbies, built a woodshop, and am helping my family heal from generations of trauma and conflict. The hardest part is finding time to connect all my dreams to reality and not put them off in order to travel and adventure into the wilderness. Story 31. Mixed. Fantastic for the most part if the world was not falling apart, so that is cool. For the record, marriage could only make life worse, so I am ecstatic about that part. I see my friends who are married, and even the happiest among them make me glad I do not have nor want that life. Story 32. No kids, no ex-wives. I am 50. I spent the last 20 years in serious darkness and have found my way out of it. During that time, I dated toxic, emotionally unavailable millennials. That was a direct result of who I was at the time. Now I have come back to life, quit substances, changed my diet, and am taking an aggressive role in bettering myself and cleaning my spiritual house. I put together my drum set and met a couple of guitarists who want to jam. I also have some measure of peace and acceptance of where I am on this planet and my role in the second half of my life. I just started dating again. It is rocky, but the idea that I might be able to fall in love again has taken root. I do not expect this one to work out, but I am feeling confident that the more I work on myself, the better my opportunities will be. Story 33. Not too bad. I spend weekends with my nieces and nephews, and sometimes my dog defecates on the floor. I can't really complain. Story 34. I have been with the same girlfriend for 17 years, and our relationship remains as strong as it was when we first met. You do not need to get married to live a full, happy life. Story 35. I have a lovely girlfriend with whom I have been together longer than most marriages last. Our only problems are health, finances, and distance related. Not much can be done about the first one, but I am working on fixing the last two. Story 36. It feels like the opportunity for marriage has passed, and I guess I was not good enough for any woman to stay with me in my 20s. Story 37. It depends. Quiet and sometimes being alone is nice for a short time. If you are like me, a 33-year-old male who has never kissed anyone, it hurts more than you think. It feels like you are wasting your life, time you could have spent with a life partner, especially when you are younger. Story 38. I will let you know in 2 months once my cheating soon-to-be ex-girlfriend is out of the house, and I begin Hose and Blow 2.0. Story 39. It's been just life, I guess. Sometimes the loneliness gets overwhelming, and other times not having to check in with someone and just be is invaluable. There are positives and negatives, as with all things on this spinning rock. Story 40. It has its perks, but for the most part, I wouldn't mind giving up some of them for a happy, healthy relationship. The problem is I see way too many horrible relationships in real life and online to be enthusiastic about getting back into the dating scene right now. That being said, I enjoy the freedom of doing whatever I want whenever I want without having to compromise my schedule to do things I don't really want to do for someone else. But for the right one, and to get rid of the occasional loneliness, I would give up the 24/7 freedom, to be honest. Story 41. It's life ups and downs. Zero desire to get married. It just further complicates an already complex situation. It's not about the devotion part. It's about the legal complications. Story 42. It puts darkness in my soul and bitterness in my heart. It makes me want to lash out irrationally. I search for anyone to blame but myself. I have plenty. Sometimes it is cool to have a bunch of free time as well. Story 43. Lonely. Quiet. Feels a bit pointless. But what can you do? I focus on the people in my life and try not to think of what I do not have. Story 44. I mean, it is pretty bad, but not for reasons related to love. I have been going through a lot with family, including the recent loss of a loved one, so I have not really had the opportunity to think about my loneliness until the last few days. Story 45. Every married man I know is now divorced and wishes he had never married to begin with. I have no desire to be married and have not met anyone I want to spend the rest of my life with. Most women see themselves as a prize to be won rather than as a partner in a relationship. Story 46. Absolutely amazing. I am happier now than in any of my previous relationships. I have built my life to a place where I do not seek connection out of fear but instead only to enhance my life. Story 47. Yeah, it sucks to be honest. I have a decent career, but it feels empty. I have my brother's family, but that's not my own family. I have recently been distancing myself from them since I don't feel happy anymore. A lot of my friends are getting married at the moment and have been engaged for a long time. I have realized love isn't for me. I have tried Facebook dating, Tinder, local bars, and meeting women at work. I have gone through so many talking stages that I am just sick of it at the moment. Life feels like I am just existing for the most part. I have no purpose. Story 48. It's fine. I just bought a house. It is a little difficult on a single income, but it is small, and in a few years, once I get a few raises, the payments will be much less of a hardship. I have a lot of close friends that I hang out with regularly, so I am not lonely. I travel when I can, go to shows, and enjoy my hobbies. Story 49. Lonely. I am almost 30 and I have never even dated. Getting into a relationship for the sake of being in one is not something I am after, but I would like to be loved at least once offline before I die. Story 50. Honestly, I am having a blast. I am in better shape now than I was in high school at 34 years old. I travel a lot. I am comfortable and not in debt. What is there to complain about? Story 51. It gets a bit boring and lonely at times, but I would rather that than get married. Single for 12 years and plan on keeping it that way. Story 52. Lonely. I have friends that I chat with regularly, but after having a relationship where I had someone to wake up with and fall asleep with or talk to, it feels really lonely. I have been single before, but going back to being basically invisible after having someone who saw you is really rough. That being said, she cheated on me, so I don't miss her. I miss what the relationship was and what we had in it. Story 53. Incredible. Having a girlfriend I see 2 to 3 times a week is the sweet spot. I do not want someone constantly there judging everything I do. If I want to spend the entire day naked, drunk, and high watching war movies, I have the freedom to do it. Story 54. Living life day by day at the moment. Being married suggests some financial freedom. I am working on that part slowly but surely. Any pointers for upskilling myself to middle-class wealth? Preferably having at least one day to myself while also staying on top of bills. Story 55. Way better than almost being married. I am happy with my decision and do not plan to ever put myself in a situation like that again. I understand people have happy, healthy marriages, but after the bullet I dodged, I just count my blessings. No thank you. Story 56. 56% of marriages end in divorce these days, with more than 80% of divorcees remarrying within 5 years. Why is love such a revolving door game nowadays? My guess is that divorce supports countless businesses such as churches, reception halls, jewelry shops, dress and tuxedo rental shops, bakeries, caterers, photographers, and even the travel industry related to honeymoons. If people stayed married, many companies would go out of business. This leads me to believe that society values breaking people apart more than bringing them together. If we add another 20% of those who do not get divorced because of the children, financial reasons, or religious beliefs, we now have love as a technology that fails 75% of the time. Story 57. Well, it is getting better as time goes on. I am thankful and feel blessed for many things in my life. I am not perfect, though, and I still have some things to work on in myself. Story 58. I just ate 3 pan-fried bratwurst in a row for dinner over a sink full of dishes I have not touched in days, using wheat bread for buns. I might eat standing up, but based on the relationships I see in the world, I believe I am much happier than your average married man. Story 59. It feels like an eternal present with no clear overall direction, seeking many dopamine distractions to avoid sitting alone with your thoughts. These thoughts keep going, preventing the inner peace that only God can provide. Story 60. Ups and downs. A little lonely sometimes, but I'm pursuing something I have wanted to do for a long time. I have a good relationship with my family and see my parents once a week. I have enough savings to avoid homelessness while figuring out this pursuit. Overall, not too bad. Kind of lonely, but it has been like this long enough that I think I am pretty used to it. I really enjoy having the freedom. We will see how I feel in a while when I have to get a real job again once this pursuit is not enough to live on. Story 61. It is good. I hear my married coworkers complain about their wives constantly. Having the freedom to do whatever you want without a nagging spouse feels good. Marriage has become less relevant in today's society, especially in the United States. Story 62. There are nights when you really want to hold someone, but they are not there. Sometimes you go through ups and downs, feeling lonely because that is the state you are in. There are days when it is hard to stay encouraged, but I always manage to remain positive after realizing that it could always be worse. I had to change my outlook on single life because realizing that male loneliness is real and being touch-starved is a feeling that can be extremely damaging to your mental, spiritual, and physical well-being. Story 63. Anyone saying marriage is better than being single is either lying or they just got extremely lucky. Story 64. I have been living in sin for many years. It is fine. After seeing divorce destroy my father, my best friend twice, and many others, I just cannot do it. She is not happy about it, but it is not a deal breaker for her. We are married for all intents and purposes but not legally. Story 65. Was not married until recently, less than 1 year ago. Life was awesome. It kind of changes after marriage. Women seem to become more entitled when married, which makes things difficult. It's like a constant struggle, a different type than when you are single. You cannot just let go. You have to find a way to provide, especially after having a baby. Story 66. Pretty great, actually, but I do not do marriage anyway. It is a faulty system. Love needs no contract to succeed. Story 67. It's everything I hoped for and dreamed of. No fights, no having to compromise or ask for permission. No need to show consideration. If things turn sour with a partner, I can just move on with all my belongings and money to myself. Story 68. I am a 22-year-old male working full-time to pay for school, so I can graduate with a bachelor's degree in psychology. Dating has been a constant disappointment. I have gone on 2 to 3 dates a year, and they have never gone anywhere. I feel like I have just wasted time. When I am not working or in school, I usually watch videos, scroll through social media, and take my dog, Biscuit, for a walk. Aside from the dating aspect of life, I have no complaints. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.